Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Healthy Grocer Radio Show, brought to you by New Day Healing at newdayhealing.net and Be More Clean colon hydrotherapy at bemoreclean.com. We share the latest healing products, research, healing practices, and remedies to enhance physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. We're broadcasting globally over the internet every Saturday from 11 a.m. to noon Arizona time. All radio show podcasts can be viewed and heard live on demand 24/7 at Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Spreaker, and on our website at healthygrocerradio.com. Should you have any health-related questions or comments regarding our discussion today, please join us live or email your questions to info@healthygrocerradio.com. And remember, health is your greatest wealth.
Hey, 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 what's up? Welcome to the Healthy Grocer Radio Show. I'm your host, Elizabeth Joseph, owner of Be More Clean, colon hydrotherapy, and Be More Raw, your naturopathic wellness practitioner. And this is my co-host, Stephanie Stanley, holistic pharmacist from Pharmacists from Humanity. And today we have a super, super special guest, which we are really, really excited to have with us today because he does our vitamin magic carpet ride segment. We have Mr. Michael Schwartz today, ND. He's a president of MNP, which is Michael's Naturopathic Programs. He's worked in the food industry for a long time, since 1976. He has been a retailer, teacher, is a naturopathic doctor. He's also the author of 18 books, including Disease Symbology Handbook, the Dream Symbology Dictionary, and the Naturopathic Healing Handbook, and many more. You can learn more about him at michaelshealth.com and CUTA teachings.org. So welcome to the show today.
Welcome, Michael.
Thank you.
Expert of experts.
Oh, please. Only. If only. Thank you both.
Yes, we are so excited to have you here today. So excited. So, before we get started, I'd love to know more. I'd love for you to tell our listening audience, for those of us that don't know you, why should we listen to you? What makes you an expert?
Wow, what a great loaded question. Thank you.
Right out the gate.
Right out the gate, so what do I say? Well, I've been studying nutrition for the last 46 years of my life, more than just studying it, but applying it. I've been a health advocate actually for 51 years, and my wife and I have been together for 50 years, and both of us have been vegetarians for most of that time. From an educational point of view, I really had some of the best teachers ever in learning about nutrition, learning about the human body. In fact, one of my mentors really worked closely with me for 15 years, which gave me deeper insights as to some of the things that go on. Because, what you learn in school is one perspective.
Right.
However, reality is another perspective. And
Right.
sometimes the theory and reality don't mesh.
That's right.
So I was really blessed to have had such great counseling and guidance through my career.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
That's awesome. Did you have any, did you personally have any like health challenges that motivated you, or was it just kind of?
No, if anything, I had a mental challenge in the sense that what got me into health was a conversation with a buddy of mine, because I was actually going to get fired from a job because I wouldn't sign off on some documents that were bogus. And so I was threatened, you're fired. No, you're not going to fire me until I'm ready to leave, this was right around Halloween. I said, I'll be out of here by the first of the year. So I go home that night, and what am I going to do? I got a little girl, my wife is pregnant, and I'm like, I'm going to get fired. What am I going to do? And a buddy of mine says to me, well, if you want to get your act together, take the energy out of your stomach, put it into your head. This is before I got into the health food industry and before I got married, because at my age, which is up there, and I've done so many things, I don't remember everything in sequential orders. So there were two conversations that got this reality going. the first one was back in the 60s when I was, the expression during that time was get your act together. Well, I couldn't get my act together. I didn't know who I was, what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to be. That's when one of my buddies, who happened to be a produce buyer, said to me, take the energy out of your stomach, put it into your head. Stop eating meat. And you know what? That made sense. Actually, you know what? Not a bad idea. So I became vegetarian. And as a vegetarian, that's when I met my wife. We got involved in some spiritual work. And then I went, I worked retail. Then I went into wholesaling. And that's where I was confronted with sign the document or you're fired. Then I went home that night and another friend of mine said, there's only 3 businesses to go into: food, clothing, shelter. So I grew up with a hammer in my hand because my grandfather was a builder. So I always went on jobs with him. I had actually been in the garment industry. I even had my own dress shop for a while.
Oh, wow.
Oh, I've had multiple careers. When you find yourself, you walk down a particular path and you experience it. And maybe then you come to realize, no, this is not what I wanted at all.
At all.
In fact, when I do interviews, when I was interviewing salespeople, I would tell people, don't be afraid to take a job you think you want. Doesn't matter what the pay is. See if you really want to do it, because in that expression, you'll either find yourself or it's not for you. And at least that way, you got it off of the calendar. It's off the list. Okay, no, I'm not going to be that kind of a guy. Long story short, and I have long stories, but I'll try to make them short. I ended up so my friend said to me, food, clothing, shelter. And he said, you guys are vegetarians. Why don't you go into the health food business? And so every rep that came into the auto parts place where I worked, I said, do you know anybody in the health food industry? And lo and behold, he actually did. A guy who had the same name as him. They both worked for Sandoz Chemical. One of them, he was an auto parts sales rep. The other one started a vitamin company. And so I went to work for Nature's Plus back in 1976.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. Were you an ND then, or that led you to your ND journey?
That led me to it. Yeah.
Wow.
Again, I found my home, but there's so many rooms in a house. I didn't know which room I belonged in.
Right. Exactly.
Fair. I love that analogy. That's how I love that.
So I just tried different things, and I found that naturopathy suited me because naturopathy is the only modality out there that nourishes the body back to health, back to balance and harmony. Pharmaceuticals don't do it. Homeopathy doesn't do it. Even herbs don't do it. And I use herbs in everything that I do because I know they do have value. But herbs are the forerunners of drugs.
Hello.
And we need to get back to that. But we need to stop treating ourselves and start nourishing ourselves. There's a real economy in consciousness there.
Interesting.
Say that again, please. What did he say?
Don't treat yourself, nourish yourself back to balance and harmony.
Sounds like Mother Nature to me.
She actually knows what she's doing.
Yes, she does.
It's us who are arrogant and we think we know better, so we come up with a chemical compound that, and you know this better than anybody, Stephanie, the drugs don't do anything but block transactions so that, okay, now that, I've got arthritis in my hands, but now I can play
symptoms better.
I took a drug. And of course, I'm going to need, knuckle replacements or wrist replacement, but that's down the road.
It reroutes healing. It reroutes natural healing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it allows the damage to continue unabated.
Ooh.
I know. We haven't even started yet. Great.
Woo.
That's amazing.
Please, I'm even worse than that. I think that the pharmaceutical companies and the food companies should be tried for crimes against humanity because of the chemicals that they use. There's no reason why we're dying at 60 and 70. We should be living to 80, 90, 100.
Yeah.
Easily.
We can, and we can. That's why it's so important that we take responsibility for what we put in our body. It's definitely possible. Some of my mentors, one of my mentors, Dr. Gabriel Cousins, holistic MD. Yeah, he's in his 80s. He does 600 push-ups a day. He's perfectly cognizant. He's very well active. He's, runs a retreat center. I mean, so that's why what we put in our bodies is so important. Today is so important. So important. Oh, it's 11:11.
There you go. Very important.
It really is, even more so because there's so much corruption in terms of what's going on in our bodies because of toxins. And there's so many toxins in the environment. People don't realize that even some of the cosmetics, when I do a consumer lecture, I tell people that when it comes to cosmetics, if you can't eat them or drink them out of the bottle, don't put them on your skin because you are eating them. You are drinking that transdermally. But, earlier when we first got on talking to each other, I said that I have no complaints. Well, that's not completely true. My biggest complaint is people don't think, they don't question, they don't challenge.
That's right.
I remember back in the 60s, there was a book called A Nation of Sheep. And we're being led to the slaughter, and we're being led to poor health, and we're being taught that that's normal. But getting arthritis at 30 or 40 is normal. No,
it's not
at all.
Tell him, Michael. That's what I'm trying to tell him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've bought into this whole sickness healthcare, and then even the nomenclature and what we call it. People aren't cognizant of it. If it's healthcare, people would be healthy. Let's even go there.
Absolutely.
What we're doing here, to ourselves mentally and fixating it, and then living out the exact agenda of what, big blah, blah, blah is, has in front of us, So absolutely.
People don't realize, our whole society really is more about a lack of education than it is in terms of really growing people into healthy, happy, well-adjusted human beings.
Yep. Amazing. I'm so excited. You got me charged up. I don't know about y'all, but he got me charged up. This is my people's right here. This is my people's. He is speaking my language right now. So I hope y'all are ready to enjoy this show. And I just want to remind you all that, remember, this show is for you, the listening audience. So please join us with any questions or comments you may have. You can put your comments right on the Facebook page at our Facebook / The Healthy Grocer Radio Show, and we'll answer your comments and we can make you a part of the show.
Yes,
so we're going to
have an expert of the experts today. Come on, people, call on in. Like, for real, he said 40 some years he has this experience.
76. Come on, since 76. I thought I had 10 years. I was like, I got 10 years old. He's like 76. Before I was born, he was at this.
I'm even older than 76.
Woo! Don't tell nobody.
There you go. They all know now.
Yeah, right. We all know now. Awesome. All right, y'all. So we're just going to be right back after this super quick commercial break, and we're going to get into it. All right, with Michael and Stephanie, Healthy Grocer.
Are you tired of losing the same 10 pounds over and over again? Then Break the Chains of Dieting by David Medansky is for you. Break the Chains of Dieting provides hope for you to finally lose weight and keep it off without going on a diet, without exercising, and without having to count calories. For less than you'd spend on a pizza, this book gives you the solution you've been looking for. Available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and antidietadvocate.com. Order your copy today.
Bloated? Constipated? Wish there was a way to find relief without nasty side effects. Colon hydrotherapy is an ancient natural practice that gently cleanses the colon with filtered water. Be More Clean specializes in colon hydrotherapy and customized holistic nutrition built for you. Stop by Be More Clean on Scottsdale Road in Thomas, or visit our website at BeMoreClean.com for all your holistic wellness needs.
Life is about flowing. Our life depends upon the flow and balance of fluids within the body. Maintaining balance and harmony on all levels in life is the ideal way to live. Michael's cholesterol metabolism factors and Michael's blood pressure factors allow for the flow of life to progress in balance and harmony. Let Michael's cholesterol metabolism factors and Michael's blood pressure factors be factors in your flow in the enjoyment of life.
Take back your medicine cabinets. Take back your life is one of Pharmacists for Humanity models. To do this, sign up with our medicinary via Fullscript, where you'll find practitioner-grade supplements like liquid vitamin D and milk thistle extract for your well-being. So go to our Facebook page and click on Start Order to create your account with us today. Search Pharmacist, 4, Humanity.
Life is exciting, fun, and full of adventure, but sometimes it can be unpredictable. When the unexpected hits and you feel trapped in a financial pinch, trust UPI Loan Fund. We operate with integrity and aim to get our lenders back to living life without worrying about hidden fees and high interest rates. When life throws you a curveball, call UPI Loan Fund for low-interest loans that you can trust. Learn more. Visit our website, upiloanfund.us. That's UPILOANFUND.us.
Are you looking to ditch caffeine, or do you enjoy coffee but want a delicious caffeine-free cup in the afternoon? Give Genantic Myaseed Coffee Alternative a try. A nutrient-rich coffee alternative using one ingredient, the roasted and ground myaseed, a superfood sourced from Mexico that is alkalizing to the body and high in nutrients, giving you a sustainable nutrient-based energy that your body craves. You can buy on Genantic.com. That's JNANTIK.com.
Spiritual awakening is the process of becoming more in touch with your spiritual core. It is a wonderful journey that is unique for each individual. New Day Healing believes that spiritual, physical, and emotional awakening are all intertwined to create the beautiful beings that we are. New Day Healing offers a wide selection of world music, awakening radio, wellness tools in their spirit shop, and more. Check out their website at newdayhealing.net.
Welcome back. Welcome back to the Healthy Grocer Radio Show. Yes, yes, yes. I'm your host, Elizabeth Joseph, with my co-host, Stephanie Stanley, holistic pharmacist from Humanity. And our topic today, we are here with our very special guest again, of longtime friend of the Healthy Grocer Radio Show, Dr. Michael Schwartz, naturopathic doctor, ND, president of MNP, Michael's Naturopathic Programs. He's been in the food industry, in the natural food industry since 1976, before it was cool. Before it was cool.
Right.
He's been a retailer, a teacher, a doctor, and he's the author of 18 books. 18 books. I got one. He got 18 over here. Disease Symbology, Dream Symbology, the Naturopathic Healing Handbook, and many other titles. You can learn more about Michael and his programs at michaelshealth.com and katateachings.org. We don't have to have you tell us about that in a little bit. So we are back. And yeah, Stephanie, let's just jump right into it. What questions do we have for Mr. Michael today?
A whole bunch of questions. Okay.
All of a sudden, I'm terrified.
I know.
No, you're great. We can't wait to learn. So you're a naturopathic doctor. Where did you get your training back then? How did you get to where you are with your degree and learning? Because I know, now we have a few schools, but back then there was hardly any schools.
So I have 2 degrees. One of them from Bernardine University back in 1980 or 79. And what happened was, when in terms of knowledge, actually, truth of the matter is, I just took the tests. In terms of knowledge, I say that I had 150 of the best teachers ever. They were independent retailers. And back in the day, when we first got into the health food industry, it was about healing. I'm one of the rare things where I didn't have a disease that needed to be fixed. For me, this was a lifestyle. This was the way to be. But almost all of the independent retailers back then had been cured from a disease. And it became more of an evangelistic kind of a movement. Brother, I've been healed. I want to help you get healed.
Mm.
And so they turned me on to books. They tested me, and finally I ended up meeting. They introduced me to a proctor from Bernardine, and he gave me 3 diseases where I had to tell him, what nutrients to fix it. Well, I went a little bit further than that because my orientation is about all diseases begin here, between the ears. And I believe that all diseases are the result of emotional conflict between our spiritual directives and
Come on.
our ego directives.
Ooh.
Well done.
And that's how I look at life. That's how I write. That's why I use the term symbology, because, Jesus taught you have to have eyes to see and ears to hear.
Mm.
So, and I come from a Jewish background, so I'm trying to wonder, were people deaf and blind back then? Couldn't have been. So there's something deeper. There's something more to what's being said.
Yeah, sure.
So I embarked upon my own journey to understand. And so I have, when it's like there's an expression, the universe provides. But I'm a believer that when you start seeking whatever it is, you got your mind working on it, and your mind is sending out energetic waves to either bring to you the people that you need or repelling the people you don't want in your life. It just depends on what's going on in the subconscious. At any rate, I came across a couple of teachers that guided me into the deeper aspects of healing, into how the workings of the mind, why we are the way we are.
Mm-hmm.
And so back then, going ahead a bunch of years now, I'm in the health food industry. I'm deeply involved. Back in, I think, 90, I had an opportunity to go to the Apostolic School of Natural Medicine, sponsored by the Catholic Church out of Puerto Rico. And so that's where I got my second time the degree. So
So what degree do you have from Bernardine University?
ND, and from the Apostolic School, it's natural medical doctor, which I got rid of.
You got an ND and an NMD.
Yes, and I got rid of the M because it's confusing, because people think
a lot of naturopaths.
Allopath, and no, we don't even have an allopath for our family, because that's how deeply ingrained we are in everything we do naturally.
Wow. I guess,
Like I said,
do. Yeah.
My wife and I are both in our 70s, and neither of us are on meds.
Wow. That's a testimony in and of itself.
That's a big deal. That's a really big deal.
Yes, it is.
And my kids are in their 40s and they're not on meds.
Wow.
And that should be normal. This shouldn't be a big deal. That should be normal, right? We're the weirdos.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Like you said, in between the head, shifting that over, even with pharmacy was never about, it was a mortar and pestle. You go out in your backyard or you forage for the herbs with the knowledge. You grind them up, right? Add some water, liquefy them, put it in the body so it doesn't go through the first pass and go straight into the bloodstream, right?
Interesting.
We're so far away from that now. I mean, in another universe, really.
Yeah.
So
it's
one
amazing.
That's not harmonious.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's when you said that everything stems from the mental, that really resonated with me, because I'm someone who's done a lot of work with my physical body. I've done a lot of cleansing. I do colonics. I've done multiple juice fasts in my life. I studied raw food nutrition. I've helped people reverse cancer, etc. But there was still some things a little out of balance, and nothing super serious. But I just was like, I drank and did drugs for 10 years, so stuff's still lingering. But as I went deeper, what I discovered was it wasn't that. It was like, these past traumas and mental and emotional and spiritual, it's all related, right? They affect each other, right? So if I'm out of balance here, it's going to create imbalance here. If I'm out of balance here, it's going to create imbalance here. So they're both important, right? Because I got kind of cocky a little bit, and I was like, with some of my symptoms, and I was like, I got this under control. And so I pushed my physical body to the limit. And my naturopath was like, well, what do you know? That's still low vibrational. It's still going to negatively affect you. I'm like, oh, I thought I could just overpower, right? And so it's important to note, they're both important. It's not that that's impossible, but it's easier to raise the vibration of something higher than it is to take something low like Cheetos and try to raise the vibration of that, right? But that mental, emotional, spiritual it's so important. It's so important, and it's neglected in allopathic medicine specifically.
Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
Elizabeth, based on what you just said, I have to give up my Cheetos?
You don't have to give up nothing. I'm a strong believer of you don't have to do nothing, but education is power, and I will. Yes, they're not a healthy food. They're not food. They're debatable, but
I didn't know it was food.
Yeah,
So,
if you're talking about chemicals, you already know. We should have a bag and just read the back of it. That's what we should do for a whole
That
show.
would be
Just
a
read the
great show,
label.
wouldn't it? This is the read the back of the label show. Exactly. Send
Oh,
us your 10 most favorite foods and we will read the back of the labels. Exactly.
I know. And before we continue, just for any of our listeners who do eat Cheetos, I want you to know this is not, we're making jokes, but like, I don't ever want you to feel guilty or shameful. And this is not to make you feel that way. This is an education and empowerment. We want to lift you up. We want to lift each other up. And so we might be making jokes about things like Cheetos, but I encourage you to take a look at the back of it. Really. I mean, that's really as simple as it is. And it's not your fault. Shows like this are important, and guests like Michael are so important because the general public doesn't know these things, and it's not your fault. It's not your fault that they're not teaching this in schools, that your parents didn't know, that your doctor doesn't know. It's not your fault. That's why we have amazing people like Michael. So I'm gonna let y'all continue.
Exactly. Well, I just wanted to bring Michael in what he said earlier, and then what you said about being cocky when he mentioned the ego, because we don't realize that's when the ego is coming in and basically thwarting our progress. I mean, the ego has its place, and usually it's in the back seat until you need it to move to the front seat, which is not most of our lives, really. So that's a big part of it, I think, too. So if we could just circle back to just let people know, what is naturopathic medicine and how is it different from conventional medicine? I think through conversation we've been explaining that, but if we can just go there, and this way people are crystal clear.
Yeah, and allopath. You mentioned allopath. A lot of people don't know that term.
Yeah.
Okay, so fundamentally, there are probably 4 modalities for healing.
Okay.
What everyone is familiar with is a regular medical approach, and that's called the allopathic approach to healing. Next up would be homeopathy, which is based on the science of treating like with like. Now, what that means in English is that if you have a cold or a flu, then you take a remedy that stimulates a cold or a flu, and that forces your body to respond. Okay? Next up is herbology, and that's treating the body with herbs to alleviate discomfort, facilitate the healing. Naturopathy means to follow the path of nature. Now, what does that mean in modern science in modern days? Because the old naturopaths were your herbologists, and those were the true naturopaths. But when medical science evolved and nutritional science evolved, and that became a welded marriage, then that's the naturopaths of today. And I'm old school because I do not use anything in the sense that will block a transaction in the human body. Nothing should ever block a transaction. You should be, because the body, there's a couple of different things I want to say, obviously. The body runs on enzymes and proteins. Enzymes are manufactured in your cells or in your intestinal tract, both, because in your intestinal tract are the B vitamins. All of the B vitamins are coenzymes, technically speaking. So they, in turn, build your enzymes. That's why it's essential to have a high potency B vitamin complex product come into your system. Number one. Number two, proteins. Not only do we eat protein, but it's the amino acids reforming in your body that run things. So you have enzymes and proteins, and that's the bottom line. Now, where does disease, aging, and corruption come in? And it goes back to reading what's on the label. Every chemical that you read on a label that ends up in your body has the potential to corrupt your cells. And it will do by one of three avenues. Either it will directly damage the DNA, because there's so much that runs through my head at one time.
I love it.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Because the body is God's creation and it's a divine creation. What gets in the way, like I said, is what's between the ears. So the body has self-correcting mechanisms. That's why it's essential that you eat healthy and think healthy, and we'll get into that later, but that's why you do the supplementation. Now, when you eat the great American diet, or to the folks in Europe, if you're eating dirty food, although you're probably cleaner than the food we have here, but when you start bringing a chemical into your body, one of three things is going to happen. Because the body is divine, it will utilize whatever in your bloodstream. And right now, for some of you, it's lunchtime or it's breakfast time, depending upon where you are in the world. And if there were any chemicals in that food, they're now circulating in your bloodstream. Now, because your body is in a constant state of mitosis, constantly regenerating itself, and that raises a question, well, if that's true, why do I look this way? Why do I feel this way? And I'm only 40. My God, I'm going to... Anyway, right? So we have this. So what these toxins do, they'll corrupt the cell. First, they'll damage the DNA. Now you've got a cell that not only doesn't look right, it does not know how to function properly. You're laying the foundation not only for aging, but also for disease. So that's one. The next thing that can happen is that within the cells, you have little manufacturing plants that manufacture proteins that will hunt down tumors, hunt down, for your immune system, proteins. So now imagine, if you will, a picket fence, and a toxin comes along and opens up a gate. You now have lost the ability to manufacture the protein that's going to hunt down tumors, as an example. Now you're tumor prone. Now imagine that the gate is open, a toxin comes along and closes it. Now what you've done is you've corrupted the RAS protein, which regulates cell turnover. So now you've got cells rapidly multiplying uncontrollably. And what do we call that? Cancer. And from a cancer point of view and a physician point of view, if you go to your doctor and he tells you that they don't know what causes cancer, tell him to get the Merck manual, which is the doctor's Bible. It lists every single disease. Right. Tell him to go, and in the new book, tell him to go to page 1170, and he will, and he will read that one of the causes of cancer are mutated cells caused by chemicals. So your flavorings, your additives, your stabilizers, your emulsifiers, your preservatives, all of that is killing you because it's corrupting your body. It's shortening your life. That's why it's essential to eat healthy, eat organic, do a cleanse, and read good stuff. Because it is, Elizabeth, you said something earlier, and the reality is, and this is the reality, life is created from the inside out. So everything outside of us is a reflection, including our bodies, is a reflection of what's going on here. So our lifestyle, our choices, our this, our that, all of that is tied into concepts of self in the subconscious mind. So anyway, so that's naturopathy. I practice obviously holistic naturopathy, but naturopathy fundamentally is nourishing your body back to health.
That's good. That's
awesome.
Good. Wow. I have a question. Okay, so you mentioned tumor prone because something in the cell has been destroyed that would go after what would be causing the tumor, which is the chemicals. So now tumor prone, which they say, okay, well, now it's your genetics. It's your genetics, right? This is kind of, so when does that become a genetic problem, this tumor prone, if it's not fixed in the body? I know it's kind of, that's how my brain works. Would it be one generation, two generations, if it's not fixed, where it would be passed down, that tumor proneness, because of all of these toxins in the system that are not, because now the cells are compromised, which means the being now is compromised, if you know where I'm going with that?
Yeah, and what I'm pondering is whether or not it would continue, because I guess it depends on the concepts that the individual has, because it's written in Exodus that the inequities of the father will be passed on to the son 3 to 4 generations, right? So therein lies our genetic diseases, which are brought about by a misunderstanding, a misconception that somebody has bought into some of the teachings of man, okay? And because they subscribe to that, they've incorporated that into their being, and now they teach that to their children. And so the only way the children can be free of what the parents have taught them is to climb inside their head and make a list of all of their beliefs. And I'll explain how to do that. But going back to the genetic aspect of it, for the individual that created that situation of a damaged protein that can no longer reduce, I don't know whether or not that would continue generational. Okay, I really don't know, because it really would depend on the concept that led the individual to create that reality. Okay, and if the concept is something that is passed on to the children, then yes, it will go down the line, even though, let's say I started it and I have this problem, and my kids see my lifestyle and they see my diet and they follow my diet, because, now here's another aspect to all of this from a different point of view. As a man, I have a son and a daughter. If my children were to seek approval as a form of acceptance, then my son's going to be like me, my daughter's going to be like her mom. Okay, so that sets up. So when we talk about hereditary diseases and we talk about genetic diseases, what we're really talking about is, I want to be just like dad. I want to be just like mom. So,
That's good.
Okay. Now, there's another set of people where the girls are the exact opposite of mom and the boys are the exact opposite of dad. Even those opposites, rejection is still a form of acceptance. Yeah. So those are kind of the information I try to share with people so that you can understand where you're coming from, because without a plan of action, without a fundamental understanding, it's very hard to get to the next level. So one of the things I share when I do consumer lectures is, on a blank sheet of paper, left-hand column, what is your role in your mind, since you two are ladies, as the role of a woman, as a mother, as a daughter, as an aunt, as niece? So all those different roles, what's your take? How are you in manifesting them? In the right-hand column, why? Why do you feel that you have to be that way? Where did that come from? Who did you learn that from? Who are you emulating, or who are you being the exact opposite of? And both of those answers will give you great insights into how you are as a human being in all of your transactions. Because you're either seeking approval or you're seeking rejection. Because both of them are forms of acceptance and love.
Wow. That's amazing. We are gonna pause right there. I want to get right back into it. So we are getting so deep. Man, I didn't expect us to even go in this direction. I love it. It's amazing. Okay, awesome. So yeah, so we're gonna do a quick commercial break again, and then we will be right back, y'all.
Are you tired of losing the same 10 pounds over and over again? Then Break the Chains of Dieting by David Madansky is for you. Break the Chains of Dieting provides hope for you to finally lose weight and keep it off without going on a diet, without exercising, and without having to count calories. For less than you'd spend on a pizza, this book gives you the solution you've been looking for. Available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and antidietadvocate.com. Order your copy today.
Bloated? Constipated? Wish there was a way to find relief without nasty side effects? Colon hydrotherapy is an ancient natural practice that gently cleanses the colon with filtered water. Be More Clean specializes in colon hydrotherapy and customized holistic nutrition built for you. Stop by Be More Clean on Scottsdale Road in Thomas or visit our website at bemoreclean.com for all your holistic wellness needs.
Life is about flowing. Our life depends upon the flow and balance of fluids within the body. Maintaining balance and harmony on all levels in life is the ideal way to live. Michael's cholesterol metabolism factors and Michael's blood pressure factors allow for the flow of life to progress in balance and harmony. Let Michael's cholesterol metabolism factors and Michael's blood pressure factors be factors in your flow in the enjoyment of life.
Take back your medicine cabinets. Take back your life is one of Pharmacists for Humanity models. To do this, sign up with our medicinary via Fullscript, where you'll find practitioner-grade supplements like liquid vitamin D and milk thistle extract for your well-being. So go to our Facebook page and click on Start Order to create your account with us today. Search Pharmacist, 4, Humanity.
Life is exciting, fun, and full of adventure, but sometimes it can be unpredictable. When the unexpected hits and you feel trapped in a financial pinch, trust UPI Loan Fund. We operate with integrity and aim to get our lenders back to living life without worrying about hidden fees and high interest rates. When life throws you a curveball, call UPI Loan Fund for low-interest loans that you can trust. Learn more. Visit our website, upiloanfund.us. That's UPILOANFUND.us.
Are you looking to ditch caffeine, or do you enjoy coffee but want a delicious caffeine-free cup in the afternoon? Give Genantic Maya-Seed Coffee Alternative a try. A nutrient-rich coffee alternative using one ingredient, the roasted and ground Maya seed, a superfood sourced from Mexico that is alkalizing to the body and high in nutrients, giving you a sustainable nutrient-based energy that your body craves. You can buy on Genantic.com. That's JNANTIK.com.
Spiritual awakening is the process of becoming more in touch with your spiritual core. It is a wonderful journey that is unique for each individual. New Day Healing believes that spiritual, physical, and emotional awakening are all intertwined to create the beautiful beings that we are. New Day Healing offers a wide selection of world music, awakening radio, wellness tools in their spirit shop, and more. Check out their website at newdayhealing.net.
Okay.
Welcome back to the Healthy Grocer Radio Show. I'm your host, Elizabeth Joseph, with Be More Clean and Be More Raw. I've got my co-host here, Stephanie Stanley, holistic pharmacist from Humanity. And we have our amazing guest, Michael Schwartz. And actually, we are going to go to Michael again in our Vitamin Magic Corner. So we will be right back, but we're not really going anywhere because it's Michael. You know what I'm saying?
Right here.
Hi, and welcome back to another Vitamin Mineral Magic Carpet Ride. This week, we're talking about selenium that we began to introduce last week. You know, it is an important component of the enzyme glutathione peroxidase, and that is a free radical scavenger. And free radicals can really wreak havoc on your body. They can speed up the aging process. They can actually lay the foundation for disease. That's why nutrients like A, C, E, grapefruit seed extract or grapeseed extract, along with glutathione, selenium, are excellent free radical scavengers. So make sure that you have those in your multiple and are part of your diet, because selenium is crucial to good health. Like I said, it works against cancer, and it has also been proven when high doses are used. Now, when I say high doses, I don't know that I would go beyond 200 micrograms on a daily basis. I don't know that I would go beyond 200 milligrams on a daily basis. And it's really interesting because low levels of selenium are associated with an increase in platelet aggregation. That means your platelets are sticking together. In fact, instead of looking at warfarin, what's really interesting is ginkgo biloba, which carries oxygen to the brain, and vitamin E also coat the blood cells so that they don't stick together. Isn't that fascinating? More next week.
Oh.
It is fascinating, Michael. It is fascinating. Thank you so much for that great information about vitamins,
Absolutely.
like you always do. I know.
Yes, selenium, important mineral. Yeah,
Yes,
trace
so
mineral,
we're
isn't
back
it? Yeah.
again. Awesome. As I mentioned before, I'm Elizabeth Joseph with Be More Raw, your naturopathic wellness practitioner. We've got Stephanie Stanley, and then we've got Michael Schwartz, naturopathic doctor, author of 18 books. Been at this since 1976, y'all. 76. He knows what he's talking about. Okay.
Yes, he does.
And look at him. He look good. He ain't in a home. He ain't on no medication.
That's
Okay.
That's
You
it.
can learn more about him and his practice at michaelshealth.com and Kutta Teachings, CUTA teachings.org. So let's get right back into it. We have a little bit of time left, and I'd just love to, finish getting what you were getting into, some really deep stuff there.
Yes, you were.
Oh, yeah. Because I believe that all diseases begin between the mind, between the ears, it's really essential that people make the effort to climb inside their heads and really get to understand their likes and their dislikes. You know, when it comes to, I made the joke about Cheetos, but when it comes to those kinds of snacks, what I would say to somebody, you know, if you need a snack, look to fruit, look to nuts, look to seeds. Look to something that, here's another one of my favorite sayings. Food will do one of two things for you, and only two things. It will either build you up or break you down. Period. And that's how you've got to look at what you're going to put in your mouth. Either it's going to build up your body, make you stronger, make you healthier, give you more vitality. So when you get to be 80, 90 years old, you can still go out and dance and go out, and you don't have to be on a walker or a wheelchair. Okay. So
Absolutely.
It'll build you up or it'll break you down. And how it breaks you down is what we talked about earlier, the chemicals coming in. The body's going to use whatever is available in the bloodstream to make new cells. And when it does that, then the cells become corrupted. And it goes back to a math problem. This is another thing. When I was in high school, there was a math problem. If you took a penny and doubled it every day for 30
For
days.
30 days. I know that one.
You remember? Do you remember how much you would have, Stephanie?
It's over $1 million.
How about 5?
Oh, okay. I know I did it recently.
Yeah, I did too, just for the hell of it, right? So there's over $5 million. So now think about a cell that's corrupted. One becomes 2. Okay. Now, we don't know we're sick until we get to 1 billion corrupted. And I'm making up a number. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. But there's a reason for that. I choose 1 billion. And, you know, now all of a sudden I've got arthritis, or I've got this, or I've got that. But it's 1 billion corrupted cells. And why 1 billion? Because the body has anywhere from 50 to 100 trillion cells. So what's 1 billion? Nothing. It's the first awakening. Goes back to what you said earlier about the inflammation creating a problem. And inflammation can create a problem, but inflammation is your mind's body of saying to you, it's your mind using your body to say to you, pay attention. There's something amiss here. Okay. There is a fundamental belief that inflammation is one of the causes of cancer. And obviously, from a different point of view, It's not. However, what is interesting about inflammation, if you allow it to go on too long, it can corrupt the DNA of cells moving forward. So now you've re-stimulated another avenue of detrimental health. So it's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow. That was a huge gem right there. So all we have to do is tip the scales of holistic, healthy cells
Yep.
back into the body
Yep.
to push out the other cells. It can be that simple.
Yep.
Yeah.
It really can. And all it does,
That was really enlightening. Like I got that.
Yeah.
and the hardest thing in the world, we are what, there's two cliches, universal teachings, if you will. We are what we eat. We are what we think.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And so from we are what we eat, we all have comfort foods, right?
Mhm.
You're feeling down, let me go get some. So
Yeah.
whatever your comfort foods are, make them organic. You don't have to give them up, but make them organic. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two, do you know why diets fail? Because
They're dying.
people are emotionally attached to every single piece of food on their plate. And if you don't understand the emotional attachment, you can't give it up. And the more ethnic and cultural and traditional the diet is, the harder it is to move away from it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's why understanding is really the key to everything.
Which one of your books addresses those types of things? Seriously, because if you 18 books, I'm sure you have some information in one or two or three of those 18 books that touches on that right there.
I guess the one that, in fact, I'm rewriting it, but the one that I would recommend to everybody would be the Disease Symbology Handbook. And the reason I say that is because in the first part of it, I get into how the mind works. So you can understand why you're co-creating your reality. That's number one. Number two, then I get into the disease. I get into backaches, leg aches, accidents, because everything happens for a reason. Everything is your mind talking to you to try to keep you on that narrow path that leads to the kingdom within.
Come on.
So your mind is always talking to you, giving you guidance. But because they say that, doing dream interpretation is bad, but meanwhile, what is a dream? A dream is a rehash. Whatever happened yesterday triggered some concepts or some patterns of behavior. And now my dream is telling me which pattern of behavior I'm in. And if I understand it, what the outcome will be. So by changing a decision, an attitude, I change the outcome. But I got to go back. So the disease symbology, I cover about 70 diseases. I talk about the disease in English because I don't like 3-syllable words. I'm not an intellect. So, and then I say, here are the nutrients that will fix that problem. Now, here's the emotional component. This is why you got the disease to begin with. And here's why those nutrients from an energetic point of view will fix the problem. Because when you boil everything down, it all comes down to energy.
Yes, yes, yes. I want to do a show on that book alone. Are you up for that? Once I can get it and look at, we can maybe choose the top 10 and go through it, because this way it will be specific, right, to what's going on, these major diseases that everyone has and are on all the same pharmaceuticals for, because I've seen it, and go through that. I would really think that would help the community a lot.
I think so too, and I would be open to that. Yeah, people need to know that they're not being educated where they should be educated. They, I feel that the churches have failed people. There's so much hate in this country, in the world, and what did Jesus teach? Love one another.
Love thy neighbor as the.
Okay, so one of the other things I try to get people to understand is if you strip away the skin, strip away the color, strip away the gender, you'll find that we're all identical. And if you want to take it one step further, just strip away the body and leave the brain and the nervous system, you'll see there's not one iota of difference.
Sure.
So all of these things that we have attitudes about are judgments that have been, I hate these people because, and now my kids hate them and my grandchildren will hate them. And it's absurd.
Yeah.
There's only one God. We're one people. And I think that the hatred is tied into the sickness.
Ooh.
We can't think straight. We can't even see straight. Jesus said, hey, take the mote out of your own eye before you see the speck in your brother's eye. But no, I'd rather make judgment. I don't want to look at me. I'd rather look at you.
That's good. That's
amazing.
Yeah, we got to do a part two to this, definitely. And can you quickly go into your Kula teachings? Kula? What is that?
Kuda.
Kuda. Okay.
It stands for Center for Universal Teachings Applied.
Oh, Kuta. Okay.
And if you go to there, all of my writings are there. All of my books are there under the term gifts. And some books are free. Everything dealing with spirit is free. I did an interpretation of Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and those books are free. But books on the mind, books on health, books on those I charge for, because even though Kuda is a nonprofit, I really don't solicit donations. I support it myself. And so I'm also using the sale of books to help further to get the information out there. Because
absolutely.
Need to understand the reality of life.
Yeah, it's been amazing having you on the show. I'm so grateful. I totally wish that we could have a part two.
Total honor.
Absolutely. Super grateful. Again, I am Elizabeth Joseph, naturopathic wellness practitioner. We have Be More Raw, Be More Clean. We've got Stephanie Stanley, holistic pharmacist, and Michael Schwartz, naturopathic doctor, author of over 18 books. Please check his stuff out. Michael's Health. Kuda teachings. And do you have any closing comments for our listeners in the last minute we have left?
Look within yourselves, because all of the answers are there. Don't be afraid, and don't settle for the first answer, because that's you telling you what you want to hear. You got to go deeper. You got to go to the point where it's going to make you cry. But then it comes to an epiphany. It's like, oh my God, that's why I did what I did.
I love it.
When you have those epiphanies, they take you to the next level. They give you more courage, more confidence to continue on your path of self-exploration and committing. Become a disciple unto yourself. And what does a disciple mean? To have a discipline, have a disciplined approach to mastering who you are.
That's amazing. Michael, I am so grateful again. Yes, I just want to thank you again. Tune in next week for another exciting wellness topic. And if you missed any part of today's show, you want to listen again, you can catch all our podcasts live on demand, Facebook, Twitter, iHeartRadio, Google, Spotify. So until next time, and YouTube, check us out on YouTube, because then you can see us. Until next time, next Saturday, 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you for listening to the Healthy Grocer Radio Show. And remember, health is your greatest wealth. Thank you so much for joining us today.
You've been listening to the Healthy Grocer Radio Show, brought to you by New Day Healing at newdayhealing.net and Be More Clean hydrotherapy at bemoreclean.com. Thanks for listening today, and please check us out on your favorite social media sites so you can meet our friend Perry Pearhead and stay up to date with the latest natural products, health news, natural remedies, health retailer and community spotlights, and much more. The Healthy Grocer would love to hear from you regarding previous shows, improving the show, or letting us know what topics you'd like to discuss. So please feel free to contact us live, on air, or email your questions to info@healthygrocerradio.com. All radio show podcasts can be viewed and heard live or on demand 24/7 at Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Spreaker, and on our website at healthygrocerradio.com. And remember, health is your greatest wealth.